Okay, so I'm joined today by Tobias Sammet. That is right, Sammet. Sammet.
Summit, whatever. But
Cool. Of the amazing Avantasia. Am I saying that right? Avantasia?
no, I say
Perfect.
Avantasia as well. Some people say Avantasia because the song is called Avantasia, the band is called Avantasia. It
Thought
doesn't make
so.
sense, but it's not supposed to make sense. We're in rock and roll, not in maths.
Exactly. So, just for everyone watching, you'll probably notice I am bright orange at the moment. I'm having some work done in my property, hence all the stuff behind me, and I've got no curtains to block out the light. So, I'm incredibly squinty at the moment. So, we're going to have a laugh with this. Uh, Anyway, firstly, thanks for chatting to us today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, the new record comes out on the 28th of February, Here Be Dragons, and it's actually the 10th studio album, following the last one in 2022. When did you start actually working on this one to bring it to life?
It's always difficult to say because my work process is a constant process. I work, I write whenever I have something to get on my chest, and it's a continuous process and it never really stops. I may sit down at the piano tonight and write a song whenever it's like keeping diary. You get think whatever you have on your mind, joy, sorrow, emotions, you just turn them into music, you get them off your chest, you gather those ideas, you put them in the drawer, and then eventually you take them out and you work on them. Sometimes you immediately finish a song, but you work on them and turn them into songs. And so I think the active process, when I really thought like, I should be doing an album again, I think that was probably, I would say, I don't recall because in fact, I don't keep actual diary. So it must have been sometime, I don't know, end of 2022 or early 23 or something around that. But I think it really became the stressful part of it. I think that was probably 2024 when it really became like, oh, I have to do this, oh, I have to do that, I got to finish this. And but I know I was in Cornwall in 23 when I wrote some of the songs, and some of the songs came together. So that was in summer 23. Apparently then I must have had worked on it already.
Cool. Now, this is the first record that's actually coming under the Napalm Records label. How did
Mhm.
this partnership actually come about? How did it begin?
um they made an offer too big to refuse, of course.
Of
No,
course.
no, it was just, it was the the working relationship with Nuclear Blast. It was about to come to an end. The album deal had expired, and it was many things had changed, and we still got along great, and it was the people who were there were lovely people. There was no fallout or something, but that sounded Scottish fallout. Um, and it, but it was just a mispronunciation.
All
Um,
good.
yeah, yeah, that's what Scottish is based on, right? I'm sorry, Scotland. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
They don't
I once,
mind.
no, I once was in a. I have to say this has nothing to do with the answer actually, but I was in a taxi in, I think it was Glasgow once on tour with that guy, and it was so lovely people, great crowd, great crowd. I think it was called the Garage or something, the club. Anyway, I went to the venue and I took a taxi, and the driver was talking to me all the time. He was the whole ride. It was probably a 15 minutes ride, and he was talking to me. And I felt so embarrassed. I didn't get a word. I felt like he was speaking Mandarin. I was sitting there, and he was talking to me, and I started. Yeah, and I was nodding, and I don't know what I was nodding to, but apparently I agreed to everything he said. I don't have a clue what he said. It was really embarrassing, and he probably must have thought like, "What an idiot!" I'm reading him, the phone book of Northern Glasgow, and he just nods and agrees, and yeah, yeah, you're right, exactly. It was really anyway, it was really weird so far to the accent of Scotland, Glasgow. Anyway, what was I supposed to answer?
You've lost me now. The partnership between Napalm Records.
Yeah. Yeah, it just the other deal expired. things had changed. Nuclear Blast had been sold, and a lot of people had been given the boot that I had known and worked with, and some people had, resigned, and so I retired some, and so it wasn't what it used to be, and so I said, okay, I might as well, look for something else, and they made me a good offer, and it felt like, I'm very bad at making new friends. I'm not an asshole, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
fine.
I'm very hesitant, and I want to have a familiar environment. I depend on having a very very familiar environment that gives me security, and I'm very very dependent on that. And but still, I had a feeling that Napalm, Thomas Kaser, he was really into what I was doing, and he understood what I was doing, and he shared the same values, and he just convinced me that this would be the right step to make. Yeah, and so far I can say, it looks like it's the right step, because everything works really really great and smooth, and they're lovely people, and they give me confidence, and they support me, and they love what I'm doing, and that's the most important thing for a narcissist.
Cool. So just so just go back to Scotland very quickly. Don't worry if you didn't understand them. Like they're my neighbour, and when it's a thick Scottish accent, much like a thick Irish accent, yeah, just smile and nod. Best
Yeah,
approach 90% of the
I
time.
I did
Um,
that.
Now, every song on the record, because I've heard it and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm so here for this. It's so good. Like so rock opera, rock and metal opera, like where has it been in my life essentially? But every song on this record is really quite epic in its nature, where most bands might have, one, maybe two ballad like songs. Everything here kind of has that style. Um, when you start to conceive a song and bring it to life, is there a sort of a focus on how you want it to come across?
I think a lot of it happens subconsciously, and a lot of it is based on intuition. So I don't sit there and say, oh, this has to be bigger and I have to make it more epic so it fits the style of Avantasia. I rarely do that. I think it's just my personality. I think I try to embellish things. I dream things. I dream things up, and then, they become flamboyant, and I let the song actually take me in its own direction, and let the song um, drag me to where it wants me to be. And so the song asks me what to give to the song, um, as opposed to the other way around. I don't artificially intervene. Um, so it is, for example, it's really funny that you mentioned that. I wrote a song called Bring on the Night, which is a homage to Bob Catley and to Magnum and to Tony Clarkin,
Yeah.
especially. Um, so that song came together, and it really wrote itself in no time. And I just had to capture it. I was sitting on at the piano, and I was just playing, and it came together. I was humming along, singing gibberish, and it came together real quick. I captured it on my phone and took it to my studio where I'm sitting here, and finished the song. And in no time, and by the time it was finished, it sounded so much like Magnum, and I thought like maybe I should drag it a little more towards the Avantasia world by adding a symphonic orchestra. And I I didn't follow that thought, because after a while I thought like, no, that's wrong. Or immediately I actually thought that would be wrong. The song asks me to be what it is. And that's what it is. It's a tribute, it's a homage to Tony. It is still Avantasia. It's still rooted in my understanding of harmonies and words. And it is it is Magnum through the filter of me as a music lover and composer in one person. So there is Avantasia. It has gone through the Avantasia filter anyway. And so I finished the song actually with keyboards, and I even took it a little further. I said, I want this to be a homage, and I feel like this should have keyboards, and it should have the keyboards that Magnum used in the 80s. It should have those synthesizers back in from 85, Italian synthesizers. and also they were using some Roland synthesizer and Yamaha and certain sounds. You know, I used Oberheim sounds, which is now nerdy keyboard and synthesizer talk. But anyway, I was going through old tour programs and videos of Magnum to see what Mark Stanway played on those records, and used those sounds. And so I let the song drag me in its direction. I never do something in order to make it more Avantasia. It's or bigger. I think that way. I'm my musical taste is flamboyant. I mean, I like Tom Petty as well, but I like Queen and I like Sabotage and I like Meatloaf and Iron Maiden and Queensryche and the theatrical stuff. Def Leppard, Hysteria, very theatrical. Very. I mean, it's called mainstream, and I know they had a hard time in England back then when they did the Hysteria album because people it sounds Americanized. I think it's a very flamboyant, extrovert, big album, and it's flamboyant in its own way. So yeah, I like flamboyant music. I hated grunge music because it was the opposite of flamboyant.
Oh,
You
really?
saw three people not washing their hair, staring at their feet, singing, "Here we are now, entertain us." You fuckers are being paid to entertain us, not the other way around.
See, you just criticised my my youth. Oh, I used to love the grunge, and I was one of those like unwashed, sweaty guys. Don't worry about it.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I love Nirvana.
Honestly, it's all good. Don't worry.
Okay.
At the end of the day, music, in my mind, it's something that brings everyone together. And whether you love it, you hate it, something is there for everyone.
You know, and I have to say, honestly, this is not kissing ass. We my other band, Ed Guy, we did it when we were kids, when we had a school band, or when we were Ed Guy already and we were a school band. We played Smells Like Teen Spirit, not Smells Like Smells Like Teen Spirit live. We did that song because it was a great song when I grew up. So, but I think it's the only great Nirvana song.
Fair. Now, there is a lot of collaboration on this album. How do you decide who to approach and who you would actually like to work with creatively?
You know, those people who are on the record now, they are people from my environment. They are family people. It's all people from my close surroundings musically. They're people that I've been on tour with or worked with before. And I wanted it that way because Avantasia had come to a point. I think it started in the beginning. It was, of course, an all-star project. It was called All-Star Project, even though I think All-Star Project is something different. All-Star Project is when Paul Rogers and Robert Plant and Brian May, when they hook up, go on tour with the symphony orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall and play Radio Gaga and All Right Now and whatever. Whole Lot of Love. That's All Star Project. To me, Avantasia was always called an All Star Project because we had all these singers, and because the singers were a huge part of it. But we had come to a point, especially when I worked with Alice Cooper and Klaus Meine and Rudolf Schenker and Eric and Bruce of Kiss and Biff Byford of Saxon, D. Snyder, and what have you. There was a time when people were just wondering, like, who's going to be on the next record? Is it going to be the Pope? Is it going to be Ozzy Osbourne? Is it going to be Bugs Bunny and Dolly Buster? Um, Dolly Buster, you probably don't know. She was an
Do
extra.
you know what? The name rings a bell, but I'm not gonna lie. I've heard it somewhere before, but
The
yeah.
name rings two bells actually, but that's a different story. It's
Ah,
she's an actress. Anyway, Google her, but
will do.
so but do private Google, private
Ah,
Safari. Anyway, actress, check actress. No, Felix Bonke is a big fan, our drummer. Anyway, that's a secret, but don't edit it out. Anyway,
I will
um,
not.
what was I supposed to say? I'm just talking myself into a hole. Um,
That makes the best interviews, though. So
yeah,
it's all about who
yeah, I'm
you've.
digging a hole for myself. No, what I was just about to say is like everybody was just wondering about who's going to be on the next record, and the songs kind of took a back seat. And with this new record, I have the best singers that I can have. They're amazing singers, but they're all familiar to the fans of Avantasia. They are people that have worked within the realms of Avantasia already, and so it's the songs are in focus and those great performances as well, but it's not a gimmick thing, and that's what I like about the new album. Sorry.
No, absolutely fine. Now, because there's quite a lot of people on here, I'm fascinated to know who you would love to work with if, like, time, money, life, any of that wasn't an issue. Absolutely anyone that has existed, who would you love to work with if you could?
Alive? Yeah,
So,
probably so.
yeah,
Alive? You mean just somebody who's alive?
could
Yeah,
be.
it
It could
doesn't.
be absolutely anyone. Someone that could have passed, perhaps. Work with Kurt Cobain. Do an Avantasia version of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I would have worked with him. He seemed to be a decent chap, and he seemed to be a creative person. He just, in my opinion, he just didn't show often enough.
Yeah,
But that's a different story. No,
all
I
good.
think I wanted to work with. I always wanted to work with Bruce Dickinson. It's an open secret, and I've approached him a couple of times. But Rod Smallwood, this very very good manager who is very protective of his band, and it pays off, I can say. I mean, Iron Maiden had some success to a certain extent. I think they have talent and they're going to make it quite far. And Rod Smallwood protects Bruce Dickinson, and Bruce Dickinson is very busy. Unfortunately, he's a pilot and he writes books and he stars in movies and he writes movie scripts and he fences and he flies aeroplanes and he does a solo album and he sings in Iron Maiden and what have you. um it's really difficult with those busy aristocratic people. But Bruce, if you see that, give me a call. I'm not that expensive.
Amazing. Well, do you know what? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a collaboration with
Me
Bruce.
too. Me too. Tell Bruce.
I will. I will tag him. Now, I wanted to ask because for me, the standout song that it's been stuck in my head, like since listening to the record. I think it was the last single, in fact, "The Witch." It's stuck in my head. I can't get rid of it. So, well done. I need to find a new earworm now. But what for you? Is there any particular standout tracks for you from this record? I mean, obviously that they're all fantastic, but this one just stuck with me. Is there a tune that stuck with you, or any particular tunes?
Just what you said. They're all fantastic, and of course, it's just it's no, it's every day it really changes, and I'm really happy about all the songs on the record. And I don't say that because I have to. I would also say that because I have to, if I didn't mean it, but I mean it. It's hard to prove what I'm saying right now, but I love really every song on the album. I think Hippie Dragons I probably love twice as much as most other songs because it's twice as long. So it's twice as long is twice as good. That's not necessarily, I don't know if that makes sense, but
It makes sense
anyway,
to you. That's what matters.
yeah, exactly.
Now, one of the things I'm always fascinated by, and I love asking people, in this day and age with like streaming services and all of that, like with music, how vital do you think it is to actually produce a full-length album in contrast to actually drip feeding songs just onto things like Spotify and stuff like that? Because, I'm very much old school. I love having an actual album. But things have shifted. I mean, where's your stance on this? How do you feel like with that sort of evolution of how we consume music?
I'm an old school guy. I mean, I don't want to come across as this old white man that I am, but but
Don't worry, I'm
I'm
with you on
very.
it.
No, you're a red man.
Yeah.
No.
Curse the
Um,
sun.
it's I really, I'm old school, and I that's the way I grew up. There was no better thing than taking home a Dio record, or a Kiss record, or an Iron Maiden record, or a Magnum album from the store the day of the release, and just put it on the record player and just get lost in a world, like getting lost in a book or in a movie, and just drowning, letting it suck me in. Nothing beats that feeling and that experience. And I think it hurts me today, not just financially, as it hurts all of us musicians, that the format, the album format, is pronounced dead by the music industry. I mean, in our kind of music, it still exists because we still produce these wonderful things. Look, this is the book version of the new
Oh,
album. It's absolutely fantastic.
that is
It's
stunning.
and and this is what I'm doing. I put this all together myself. I wrote it all. I put the pictures in there. I chose the pictures. I didn't take them. But it's really, I'm doing this for a reason, not just to sell it, but I'm doing this because I want to create an immersive experience, something that will drag you in when you get the new record and just listen to the record from start to finish. I also know it's important that you have individual songs that work individually, because not everybody wants to listen to a whole record. Sometimes I just want to listen to Aces High and not to the whole Power Slave thing. I'm doing a radio show also, and of course I know how important it is to have a great song, you know. um, but still, to me, the whole experience is more immersive than just listening to a song. And I hate the way things go. But of course, I am not naive enough to not deal with it and just accept the fact the way things are. I think we can just, you know, make a stand and do what we believe in and adjust to the whole system here and there, but still be ourselves and do what we believe in. And that's why I'm happy that I'm still allowed to produce real records. That's the way I learned it. And, I mean, today, look, I was just asked this question pretty much, not similarly, in one of the previous interviews, and how the music business has shifted and changed. And I wouldn't want to change with the kids today. I mean, they're probably happy, but when I was young, you tried to get a guitar or a bass guitar or a keyboard. You had a poster of Bon Scott on your wall, and you were admiring Bon Scott, and you wanted to be Bon Scott or Gene Simmons or Ronnie James Dio. And you were learning the guitar, and you were going on stage, you were writing your songs, you were carrying gear into little clubs. I was 14 years old when I played my first show. I was 17 years old when I produced my first record and sang on it. And I had written it as well. Today, people queue up at a talent show to sing, to be one out of 20,000 kids of their generation who try to mimic Mariah Carey or whatever. Can't live living you. And all these things. And there's nothing sweaty about it. There's nothing, they know how TikTok works before they know how a guitar works and how a keyboard works and how the the harmonics work. And and that's it's just sad. It's just sad, And even in the heavy metal world today, if you open up a magazine, it looks like you're flocking through a, a live action role play catalog. You have pirates and Vikings and vampires and soldiers and all these kinds of different. I mean, it looks like they're going to costume shops before they go to a guitar shop.
Yeah,
And some of the music is really lousy, I have to say. I mean, who am I to judge? But that's just my take on things. And so, no, I like the old school way. Now I
definitely.
sound like one of those whiners, one of those
Don't
generation whatever whiners, conservative whiners.
do not worry. I'm completely with you on this. I'm always fascinated by people's view on it, though, especially people that have sort of our age, our generation, and how we've grown up with it. And we're rapidly becoming the grumpy old man that we never thought we would become. Although I'm rolling
Absolutely,
with it and I love it. Um,
absolutely happy, proud to be a grumpy old man.
Now, you're about to head out on tour across Europe and, of course, come into the UK as well. I have to ask, who does it better? Germany, the UK? Who has the best fans?
I thought you were referring to penalty shootouts. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
No, stay
oh,
nice,
that's
stay nice.
no, that's war talk. That we don't.
Um, honestly, I mean, um, I love playing in Germany, but I have to say, and this is not, I mean, this sounds like I'm kissing Oz, but I have said that numerous times. I'm an Englishman trapped in the body of a German. And I love England so much. I mean, we just shot 2 music videos in England. I wrote half of that album in England. You know, I have an English photographer and I have English people in the band. It's just I love England and I love playing London, and I love that we had to upgrade the venue and go to a bigger size, playing the Roundhouse, you know, next time Royal Albert Hall, O2, and then the stadium. And and no, seriously, I mean, playing the Roundhouse is a step up. I mean, it's still just a 3,000 capacity venue, but it's got a big stage, and we can bring all the stage props and set up all the extravaganza. And I'm really looking forward to it. And the English fans, I have to say, when we started out playing this type of music, being considered a typical German band, which I don't think we are, and I certainly am not typically German. I think indeed some of my jokes, maybe even just 10%, but at least 10% of my jokes are funny, and that disqualifies me as a German. But what did I want to say? I forgot about what I wanted to say. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to playing London. I forgot completely what I wanted to say. My brain is just my brain is grumpy and old too.
Don't worry about it. Now, there's one question I want to end on, if this is all right, and it's a little segment I like to call Tales of Touring Terror. So, has there been a moment when you've been on tour where something completely insane has happened? In other words, regale me with a story of touring.
Um, I don't know if it's not extraordinarily funny. I don't know if it's strange. It is. I
That
have
works. I like strange.
it's not funny, it's strange, it's remarkable, I have to say. I don't know if it's exciting. It's it was a tour in 99 we played once in Sweden, and our tour manager got murdered.
Oh,
I know
oh,
that's
this went dark quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a strange story. He just disappeared. He was not our personal tour manager. We was a support act, so we didn't have too much touch. I mean, we were not close with him. He was in the bus of the headlining act, and he just disappeared. We only found out he was murdered way after he was murdered. Um, that was really it was, and the police came to us, and they, like the Spanish Inquisition. So when did you? What did you? And we don't know. And he just disappeared. Everybody thought he had run off with the money, but he was apparently they found him murdered. Um, I don't know. That doesn't qualify as a real good story. But what else do I have?
To be fair, it's the most unique story I've ever had.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, what else? I mean, I don't want to come across as if I think it's funny that a tour manager gets
No, of
murdered.
course not.
It's like, but it's so long ago that I can talk about it now. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know the guy personally. We were the support act, and usually when you're the support act, nobody cares about you. You're just not the tour manager doesn't even talk to you. Um, I don't know what else we have. We have so many stories, but I don't. But next time I'm going to do an interview session, I'm going to write down those stories because I've been asked about something like that before, and I don't have a story now.
Oh, never mind.
This is just such a sad ending, and such a sad way to it's just like we've just it just began we began to get a good chemistry here,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
all
I
of a
tell you what.
sudden
Well, I tell you what. How about this? You went Scottish on me like earlier on. Let's finish with your best Scottish impression. Can you do that? Have I put you on the spot?
no. I can flap the R, but that's all I can do. I mean, I still don't know what this guy was talking. I still have no idea. I don't speak any Scottish.
Well, for anyone out there that's going to be listening and watching this interview, post some ways of interpreting Scottish for us both, because like you, when someone's got that thick Scottish accent, wow, it's very difficult to pick up on. But Tobias,
Absolutely.
I want to thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. We be Here Be Dragons, or We Be Dragons. I went a bit weird there.
We'll
Here
be
Be
dragons
Dragons
too.
out on the 28th of February, and it is an absolute banger from start to finish. Everyone needs this album in their life, and thank you very much again for chatting to me. You have a
Thank
great
you.
day, my friend.
Thank you.
Good luck
You
with
have
the
a
tour.
great day, and don't let the sun burn you.
It's going down now. See you
Thank
later,
you.
mate. Bye.
Bye.